Are our relationships all about money? Well, for Gen Z, it's a wild mix. We're plugged into global ideas of romance, equality, and modern love. Yet we live in a space where family, tradition, and society still cast big shadows. Trust me, even I have been there. And when you throw in the money, it gets even more complex. I'm Rachel Nduati. Welcome to the show. Coming up on the show, our street debate in Kenya asks what money has to do with love. South African women tell us the dangers of becoming a sugar baby. And we meet a Maasai tour guide who escaped a child marriage. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about how we've all spent hours online, doom scrolling, swiping at how people portray their relationships on social media. And yo, the pressure is on. And for Gen Zs on the continent, we all know it's even more complicated. Like, seriously, we're tearing up the rulebook over what's expected from a relationship, who should pay for the first date, or even who should plan for it. Joining me now to weigh in is SK, who's in Nigeria. I have a question for you. Do you think about money when going on a date with someone?
Well, Rachel, what can I say? That's a very big conversation in Nigeria. And honestly, with the rising cost of living, many see spending as a reflection of effort and respect. But don't just take that from me. Let's get to hear what young Nigerians are saying on the streets. Do you think of money when going on a date with someone? Do you think, ooh, good evening. Do you think about money when going on a date with someone? Ooh, date with someone. Now, wow. Right. Oh, hold on. Let's talk for a minute. I got her to talk to me. So, do you think about money when going on a date with someone?
Probably I'll have to have my vex money. Yes, definitely vex money is a thing. So I'll have my vex money before I can go cast.
Me as a lady, I have to have my own money. The man too should have his own money. So that in case misunderstanding can come, ask vex money. So at least have money in case of incasity. Vex money.
Okay. Explain vex money for us.
You can't put the men of nowadays past anything. So like, just in case.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, why?
If you're going on a date with someone and you're the one who initiated it, of course you'd want to. You'd want to be the one to foot the bills, right? Yeah, so of course.
Over to you, Rachel.
Vex money is something I'm definitely adding to my vocabulary. Those guys are not shy about sharing their opinions. But there is one city that I know that even has more to say, and that's my hometown, Nairobi. In our street debate, Edith Kimani asked whether sex and money always go hand in hand.
In her 1986 single, Gwen Guthrie popularized the expression no romance with no finance. But in 2025, we're asking a rather similar question. What about sex? Can that exist without money? And if not, who pays the pleasure bill? Who better to answer this question for me than some lovely Kenyans here in the capital? How many of you believe that sex and money can exist separately? Do you believe that they can exist separately? Let me see. Oh, so you do think that? All right. So Achiba, you don't think that?
I'm a sex worker. I've been in sex work for the last 16 years. As a sex worker, I earn through sex, and I've been earning through sex. I pay all my bills with sex, but it's not that I don't enjoy sex. Sometimes I can go with a client and I feel that she's doing better, so he can just be like a friend and like a boyfriend.
So Achibella here making it a very clear thing, but you raised your hand saying that you think there's a separation between sex and money.
I feel like sex is so special, it's intimate, it's actually spiritual. And I think that when you start connecting sex and money and they have to coexist, I think it reduces people to commodities. And I feel like that demeans the whole purpose of it, because I believe that sex was introduced by God for a reason.
Mukabana, you already want to speak to me.
Because I'm already annoyed.
Okay.
So I feel like, yes, sex is special and intimate, but if we are to even still look at it from the biblical point of view, provision is important in order to create that intimate bond that creates family, that eventually creates community. So without including resources in order to build that community, how do we begin? And it starts with a nice bed to sleep on. Okay. Yeah, and a nice bed to sleep on is expensive.
All right, hold on. Achibella already wants to. I haven't even asked a question. Okay.
About sex being special, yes, it is special. Even as we know, in our houses, in our homes, if our father don't have money, you know the kind of home it will be. You see, even our mother depends on our fathers. So it's all about sex. You can't have sex with someone when you're hungry. You see, you can't have, and you have to get money to buy food.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is it realistic, Kenya, to assume that you can actually have intimate relations without resources, as Mukabana said?
Every single aspect of life revolves around money. Because even if I want to show that gesture, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to take babe out. I'll buy some eggs, maybe, put them in a heart shape. I'll need to buy maybe, some sugar, maybe a packet of tea, and then we go out, have a nice picnic. I've shown my gesture with 100 bob. Regardless whether I wanted the sex or not, which I did, I'll still have to remove money from my pocket to show that gesture, to start that process.
Okay.
Even as a lady, I cannot date without money. I need to get my hair right. I need to do my lashes. And this is the first day before I can be like, babe, where's the M-Pesa? If I am a respectable young woman, I have to present myself that I am capable to be amongst somebody, be with somebody who is capable of handling that kind of financial power.
Let me introduce Brian here. So the dynamics of somebody who's differently abled are very different. So speak to me about sex, pleasure, and money from your lens.
I think in my case, money is a tool to get me to an accessible room, an accessible bed, to help me get to bed, to help me get the medication that I need to get the job done. I need money to, like you said, take my lady to a nice place.
How does that then play into your ideas of manhood and masculinity? Ben here spoke about provision being a thing that drives him as a man.
I'm very much like Ben. I want to provide, and I want to provide in all ways. I want to provide in the bedroom, and I want to provide outside.
Yeah. Speaking of provision, I find it interesting that you teach women how to empower themselves financially, and yet you said to me that you would never date a man who earns less than you.
Honestly, I've already done that relationship. However, I realized that, especially because right now a lot of women, despite there being more opportunity for women, women are still more disadvantaged when it comes to financial power. We carry a lot of the burden of bearing life, of emotional labor.
I think as a man, you should be cognizant of that fact. You should be cognizant of the fact that maybe when she gets pregnant, she's going to get the most heat, career-wise, health-wise, body-wise. There's definitely that. And maybe as a man, you need to consider maybe just to see how you can make her life a bit better, just by the way you're trying.
Shanta.
I think the problem comes in when, especially for men, when they look at somebody and they want them, but they can't afford them.
Okay, so there are a few things that were said here, but I just want to pick up on the first one that you mentioned, that the reason why men are constantly complaining that women want money is because the men always want to date beyond their means.
Checky. Very simple. Everyone should afford themselves. Because sometimes you put very high standards that even your own father can't afford. And then you are expecting another man to do that for you, instead of you working and do for yourself.
I know that there are itchy fingers here, but let me come to Winnie here for a second.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Cheki said, because she started she started by saying that I need money to make my hair get a complete makeover so that I attract someone. But why are you giving this other person pressure to afford you when these are things that you're supposed to be doing for yourself to make yourself feel good? And you, what happened to invite me out on a date? Let's go to Uhuru Park. Groundnuts are like 5 bob or 10 bob. Let's chill, let's connect. If the sex comes after, well and good.
Let's start with the first you. You. So, why not just come up with the money for your own hair, your lashes? You look very beautiful today.
I did not say that the person that I'm going to date is the one who needs to provide that. I said that even I, as a girl in Nairobi, I can't date without having some kind of resource to put myself together. And I'm not pressuring anyone to afford me. I'm saying that I want to present myself to the standard and caliber of the kind of person I want to attract.
But let me get a comment from Brian here, because we've heard about financial incompatibilities when it comes to relationships, right? But sometimes you start a relationship and you're on an equal footing and something happens and you lose the finances.
What I'm feeling from the panel here is that most people are in relationships with the wrong people. I think they should find people that are more compatible with them. And if you want someone who is a provider, then look for someone who has those qualities. If you want someone who is a nurturer, go for those. So the problem is that you're looking for a provider in someone who is just trying to build at that time.
Let's hear from Shanti.
Somebody said that our parents' relationships used to last longer. But those women suffered. In fact, what is happening today is that more and more we are discovering that women, especially in marriages, have a lot of financial abuse. Because you take a loan for this dude. He probably goes and spends it on his mpango kando. You build with this man. When you're in your 60s, he hooks up with this 25-year-old secretary. I'm like, at least give me a dowry when we get married so I can invest it. The day you decide to change your mind, I'm in a better place.
So I want to wrap up with you, Ben, because at the very beginning, you were the only person who seemed to think that money and sex can exist separately. Having listened to all these people, do you feel more strongly about your position or less so?
Yeah, I do. One thing I can tell people is that real relationships exist, and a lot of people on ground are doing relationships without having all these standards that we tend to portray, especially on the media. I feel like this is sort of an unrealistic standards that people set. So I think that the more we keep commercializing relationships and all this stuff, the more we keep getting it wrong.
Okay. So I asked what appeared to be a simple question at the start. Who pays the pleasure bill? Can sex and money really exist separately? Well, according to this discussion, I don't think so, but it definitely has an interesting interplay. Thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.
Wow, I'm not even shaken. I'm what they say, shooketh. You can also check out the long version of that street debate on our YouTube channel. People really have tons to say. And with all these high expectations comes even more gender roles. But for real though, is there even such a thing as a man or a woman's job in this economy? Still, a 2022 UN study on gender attitudes in Nigeria found 72% of respondents believed it was natural for men to earn more than women as they are the main providers. Back to you, SK. What do you think?
Well, in reality, Rachel, Nigeria still has traces of that mindset. People often label certain jobs as for men or for women, but many young Nigerians are gradually breaking those boundaries every day. But let's get to hear from the streets. Secondly, now, do you think there's such a thing called a man's job or a woman's job?
Yeah, I think. Probably, I think men are supposed to do like hard jobs. Because, like me, I cannot on generator, so maybe that kind of thing. For me, like this, I can't date someone that is a stylist. They have one girlish something like this, but not all. Oh. For me, I can't date someone that braid, a guy that braid. So there are some things that you just have to leave it for a lady. But though now this Nigeria, everything are also. So if they pay you, do them. It's not bad. I'm not condemning it, but at least if they pay you, if you do them.
Our generation, no. Women do everything nowadays, and men also do everything. Who knows that? Who knew, rather, that men will fix this and do hair and do all of that? Who knew that women will barb?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think men should be able to do all jobs, but men should be able to do all jobs as well. Okay.
Man get your own job, you know, get man like for me bring money. Why woman job na for me chop the money? That's so it be now.
Well, as you have just seen, Rachel, some Nigerians weren't having it. Split opinions, but one thing is clear. When it comes to money, love, and gender roles, it still remains a big conversation in Nigeria. Over to you, Rachel.
Interesting. We'll get back to SK later. Now, another topic that has always raised eyebrows is dating older men within our cultures, from sponsors in Nairobi to blessers in Joburg. Horror stories about sugar daddies and sugar babies have existed for ages. In Kenya, 5% of men reported being in relationships with a considerably younger woman who they supported materially. A survey found about 1 in 5 female students in Nairobi had a sponsor. And for both sides, the relationship is transactional. But at what cost? Let's go to Johannesburg, where women share why they find this kind of relationships tempting.
When she started her studies, 23-year-old Nokwanda Mtambo from Soweto was struck by the expensive looks, clothing, and excessive shopping her fellow classmates enjoyed. Her friends were so-called slay queens who depend on rich men to maintain their lifestyle. They introduced her to her own blesser, a wealthy married man who was more than 20 years her senior.
He was just saying I'm his queen. With the gifts. Who doesn't love jewelry, right? Can't say no.
But the gifts did not come for free. Mtambo soon discovered that she'd need to perform sexual favors. This is when she started having second thoughts.
You know, so it was like, do I really want this? It kind of just felt like I was being invited into, sorry to say this, but type of prostitution. But then now I have to now make do with whatever just comes by, just because of the fact that you want this life that you want.
A soft life, or the struggle to survive. In a society where money and power are concentrated in the hands of men, Mtambo is not alone. Some men even believe money gives them the right to control a woman's freedom. 46-year-old Mandla Vilakazi has 3 mistresses. He does not allow them to work, leave the house without his permission, or own a cell phone.
Women are easily tempted, so we need to control them. They need to be in your fingertips. Hence, for me, I work very hard. I went to school so that I can have money, I can have power, I can control them.
That his behaviour might entirely undermine his girlfriend's right to self-determination seems of little concern to Vilakazi. Both he and his friend claim to pay their girlfriends around 400 euros each. For Zibu Mahlangu, this is pure business.
That's the whole point. So now what we do is we take care of women, then what we get in return is love. That's all. That's all. Nothing else.
So you mean sex?
Yes, sex, being taken care of, just someone making you feel special.
In a recent South African health survey, 1 in 10 young women reported to have had transactional sex. This is a massive problem, says author Jackie Pamotse. We meet the author in an upmarket hotel in Johannesburg. Pamotse is well known for her book, which spills the beans on the blesser and blessee culture. Pamotse experienced the fluid borders between transactional sex and human trafficking.
I've read one or two books. I've read of yours. You are very scary things. Remember, we work in this hotel,
and you see things.
Things, and we say, you know, when we see these things, I remember all the things that are written in that book, and they are scaring me. It's not funny.
Gosh.
As a young girl, she ran away from a violent home and became involved with a very wealthy man. A few months into their relationship, he took her on a private yacht with politicians, businessmen, and their mistresses. Being trapped in the middle of the ocean, she had no choice but to endure being raped multiple times.
You can be traded like this in a heartbeat. If a minister wants to buy you, they'll buy you, regardless of who you're dating in the group.
After 4 traumatizing years, Pamotse managed to escape the grasps of her blesser. She fled abroad, where she wrote a book about her experiences. A warning that the world of glamour that we see on our phones and internet platforms is sometimes far from the actual truth.
guys, that's T for tough. Don't fall for the pressure of flash and cash online. And speaking of money, what does it do to a relationship when one person pays for everything? SK, what do you have for us?
That's an interesting question. I think if only one partner pays, it can create tension and imbalance. But money shouldn't dictate love, right? But let's get here what more people are saying on the streets. So, do you think there's any effect if one partner pays all the bills in a relationship?
No, it's not okay. Especially for sometimes nowadays, a man will tell you that I can't date a lady that don't have money, that don't have rest, that don't have work. So at least have something, even though it's not 100% like the man, but at least for a lady, even though it's 50, the man should have 100% or 70.
If you're able to afford stuff and then you want to pay the bills for them, fine. But at least from time to time, ladies should be able to volunteer to do stuff.
I don't think it's always good because for some reason I think the guy will actually look at the lady like as someone that is lazy, because like in everything you just want me to pay and pay and pay, but you are not bringing anything to the table. So in some cases guys will actually look at them like this woman don't have anything to do, like she's not bringing anything to the relationship, she just want me to keep paying and paying and paying.
No woman to try the odds, you know, get no say na only man with the struggle. Woman to try the find money, you know, get you know possible now. Man go dey suffer, you go dey chop. No suppose now. Bring something called table, more now the everything go make sense.
Well, from the looks of it, both parties need to bring something to the table. Now, the roles of men and women have changed a lot in recent times. And let's face it, we are all trying to pay the bills. Women are doing so-called men's jobs and winning, like Barbara Nasserian from the Ma community on the Maasai Mara.
At the Embo River Camp in the heart of Kenya's Maasai Mara, Barbara Nasserian is overcoming gender barriers by being one of the first female tour guides in the park. Her life choices defy the Maasai community's strict patriarchal norms.
I received a lot of resistance from first my dad, because he was actually the topmost of the people or of the male that I'm supposed to respect.
At the age of 9, her father wanted to marry her off for a dowry, but she refused. She eventually fled to a rescue center.
A woman in the Maasai community is viewed as a trade thing, because when a woman is born, a baby girl is born in the at home, the dad is happy because he knows, of course, he's seeing cows. For you, when you really grow at an age of about 9 to 12, that's when now another person can come and talk to your dad, and then of course you can be married off.
Nasserian grew up in Narok, west of Nairobi, just a few kilometers away from the Maasai Mara National Park. She used to herd livestock and often encountered wildlife. That's where her passion began.
I saw that guiding field was a male-dominated field, and as per what I went through, actually, I really wanted to show my strength, and all that I thought was for going for something extraordinary.
Women leading the charge in the tourism industry is not a common sight in Kenya. Overcoming challenges and prejudice, these women at Embo River are trailblazers. They are turning heads in the heart of the Maasai Mara. Over 50% of their employees are female. But Nasserian's courage to break cultural norms has also come with its fair share of challenges. Her life choices were not well received by her family, at least at first, but she has gradually shifted the perception of her community.
My dad really now is a happy dad, and he's now supporting fully what I do, and he's even encouraging more ladies actually out to do whatever I'm doing. And for now, actually, my younger sisters don't really have that hard time of going to school. In fact, now he's forcing them. If you don't really want to go to school, you will have to go, because now he's really seeing that value in a woman. So it has really changed his perspective completely.
Nasserian continues to grow in her journey as a guide. She plans to keep pushing boundaries and changing norms by inspiring the next generation of women.
Inspiring is an understatement. But before we wrap up, I have one last question for SK. After talking to all these people, do you think we can ever be equal in relationships? And will money always be a factor?
Good question, Rachel. And honestly, from the conversations I've had, money definitely has something to do in a relationship. Maybe not mostly, but money really has something to do in a relationship. And about equality, I think Nigerians are not ready for that yet.
Wow, I didn't expect that, SK. But I want to hear from you. Tell us how money works in your relationships. Join the conversation on our social media pages. For now, I leave you with the song Too Easy by Kenya's Bien Aime. I'm Rachel Nduati, and until next time, bye-bye.
You make it too easy. I'm feeling you, I'm loving you.